Hello, and welcome to my online teaching experiments. I've been streaming on Twitch workshops and tech sessions, and of course gaming on Twitch for regularly for a few weeks now, and my plan is eventually one day. I wish to run my own training institute or something, once I get the money, if I ever get it. But till something like that happens, I'm using Twitch as my virtual classroom to get used to the habit of conducting these classes, managing them, figuring out the syllabus and things like that. I am a professional tutor. I've given some links on the screen. I have my Discord group. Please feel free to join whenever you watch this video. I don't think anybody's going to join me live, but the recording someone might watch someday. So there's the links where you can get more details about what I am trying to do. Now today is the first session. I am not really sure how long I will do this session. It might be for a few minutes, it might be for an hour, or I might end up doing a very long session today, taking breaks as per my own mood and general tiredness. So first step today is the first session. So obviously I need to explain what is the syllabus, right? So I think that is the first thing I need to explain. So the first thing I want to do is, what is the syllabus that I currently have? Now of course this is an experiment, this is the very first batch. So I have a what I would like to call a placeholder syllabus. Okay, I mean, yes, I'm a professional coding tutor, so I have a lot of knowledge, but for this course I do not know yet what will be the final syllabus, but I do have a syllabus as a placeholder, something that hopefully will evolve over time. So let me get that here. I have a second monitor where it's like my command center where I have all these things running. So let me go ahead and get the syllabus. Hold on. There it is. Perfect. First, let me go ahead and put that link on the PowerPoint here. Okay. Yeah, something is happening for the last few days on my keyboard. I don't know if it's a Windows issue or something else, but Control-C does not work as expected. I'm not sure why. It doesn't work as expected. So there we go. That is my link for the syllabus. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger, so you should be able to type it by looking at it. So that is where I have kept my syllabus for today, and of course the same link is available in my Discord channel. Okay, so it will be easy for you to follow this class if you just, especially if you're joining live, to join my Discord where I'm putting all the links also. So okay, so there we go. So I have gone ahead and put that link in my Discord, and later when I upload this recording to YouTube, I will put all the links in the video as well. So that is all set. So this is my syllabus. Let me bring the syllabus on screen so I can walk you through what is it that I'm trying to achieve. Right, so that is my syllabus. So first part of the syllabus is going to be the 113. The first part of the syllabus is going to be the 113 chapters on this website called Free Code Camp. Now I am a huge fan of Free Code Camp. I've been using JavaScript for many years, but I've never organized my JavaScript knowledge in a nice way. For that matter, I never organized my C# knowledge in a nice way either. But the thing is, C# is a typed language, so it has organization built into it. So when you're doing something like C Sharp, it's okay if you learn things in a haphazard way, but by its nature, C Sharp will organize you whether you like it or not, right? But the thing about JavaScript is, because JavaScript is always about flexibility and making things super cool and so on and so forth, if you are learning it haphazard, then your knowledge will also be haphazard. So that happened to me, and because for many years I avoided JavaScript because I found C Sharp more appealing, and I was getting a lot of money from C Sharp work already, so I had no motivation to switch or jump or take JavaScript seriously. However, about 3 to 4 years ago, I started noticing that more and more things are becoming JavaScript. I mean, C Sharp continued and continues to be my main, money maker, but I found that there are a lot of opportunities coming up in JavaScript. So slowly I was, okay, let me go ahead and learn JavaScript too. And for that, I explored, I searched many different things. I considered, I purchased books. I still remember there was this book. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, let me. I don't know if that book is still there. It's called Head First. That was the first book I purchased. Let me see. Yes, there it is. It even has a Wikipedia entry. So let me bring that on the screen here. So I remember, this was the very first book I purchased, Head First HTML. Let me see if they have a website. I think the company is dead. Is it? Yeah, I think the company is dead. Oh. Right. I think the company is dead. Whatever happened to it? Right. Head First. Yes, there you go. Head First. I remember this book because I found it very interesting. Let me see if I can find the original order on my Amazon page. Hold on. So if I go to Amazon and if I go to my orders, let me see. No, it's not there in my. I think it was so long ago. There it is. No, it's not here. Now I think I purchased it on some other website. Okay, but anyway, so Head First is the book where I learned my first taste of proper HTML and JavaScript and things like that. I remember because this guy was using this. Yeah, that's the one. That is the one, and yeah, I think they shut it down. Head First was the first book. Yeah, I remember they had these pictures, and yeah, there it is. Head First Web Design. I think that is the one. Head First. Let me see. Head First HTML and CSS. I wonder if. Yeah, it's not there. Forget about it. I think they shut it down. Let me try to find it. Head First. Oh, really? I think they shut down the website. Ooh. Oh, it's still online. This is the one. This is the guy. I remember that photo. This is the one. There you go. This is the book. This is where I started. They didn't mention anything about Python, so it could be a similar book. They have similar photos. Head First, HTML. Let me see. Maybe I can find it. Is that the girl? Let's see. I think so. That girl looks familiar. All their books have similar photos, so I think this is the one. I think so. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I think this is the one. So this is where I really started. The very first time. It's a very old book. The first time I wanted to kind of learn programming, I started with, I felt like this was, brain friendly, and the book had a lot of pictures and things like that. Yeah, I remember this guy here. I remember this guy with the painful headache expression, because whenever I thought of JavaScript, I felt like it is a pain, like it's not organized in a way C# is. So I always found HTML, CSS, and JavaScript very, very difficult to learn. Even today, I struggle with so many things. Although I've gotten better and I've started working professionally in web programming and things like that. But still, I think this is where I started. And even today, I would still recommend this book. Although of course I have better choices now, and of course after this I purchase courses on Udemy. I still purchase courses on Udemy on a regular basis just to learn new things, because the courses are always on discount or something like that, because you can never say like you learned everything. There's always something new around the corner. But after all these things, of the many different ways I have learned and tried to learn, ultimately what really helped me was Free Code Camp. I found these guys really useful. I use this on a daily basis. I recommend it to all my students. So my plan is the first part of my sessions will focus on these 113 chapters. And I believe in my head that these 113 chapters, I'll be going through each of these chapters in my sessions. I don't know how many I will cover today. I don't know how long I'll do the session today. I have a free day today. Monday I usually try to keep it free because weekends are stressful for me with a lot of work from clients and things like that. So today, Monday, is usually a free day for me. So let me see. Certainly I might stop or I might just keep doing all day. So this is my first step. And I personally believe that if you are a first-time programmer, and that is what I'm aiming for with my workshops and with everything I do on Twitch, and in the future, once if I eventually set up my own classroom, my goal is to teach first-timers. That is where I really want to go in, because you have more freedom there, and the concepts. Although technology changes every day, the basics usually remain the same. And I'm a firm believer that if you are taught the basics, from there you can explore and learn on your own. Okay, it's like a train station, like you have a train at the platform. In the beginning, when the train starts to move, the amount of energy, the torque required to push the train from its inertia is high, but once the train is running, the amount of energy required to keep the train running is actually very, very low. So similarly, I believe that when you are a first-time learner, the amount of force needed to make you start moving as a learner is high. But once you have learned the basics, and just like the train, once you start running faster, you only need minimal motivation and minimal effort to keep moving, keep learning. So you don't really need a tutor to teach you anything except perhaps the basics. So that is why, as much as possible, I have always focused my energies, myself on teaching the basics, and then I tell my students to learn all the advanced things on their own, because they don't need a tutor to learn advanced concepts. They can learn on their own, which is how you should learn really. Okay, except for basics, you don't really need a tutor. Is going to be my opinion for the time being, unless something changes in the future and I have to go back on what I said. But as of now, for the last 10 years, I have believed that you only need to know the basics. So this is going to be the first part of my teaching, and I believe this is all you need to get your programming journey started. 113 chapters from Free Code Camp. So that is going to be the first part of my syllabus. Now after this is done, my next plan is to so after this is done, I will immediately jump to let me see. After this is done, my next step is to immediately use the knowledge. Okay, use the knowledge to build a very simple bootstrap page. I'm just opening that on my second computer. I'm just opening that and checking it. So my next step is, hold on. is to build a series of projects using Bootstrap. Now I have the links given here, and you could explore them on your own, but I just want to show one project. Now all these projects, they are similar. They kind of teach you the basics of Bootstrap, and they also give you an opportunity to apply the programming concepts that you are learning. And the one which I really use the most often and is this one. So let me go ahead and bring it on my main screen, and there it is. So this is the one. Let's try and okay, hold on, let me just check if everything is right. I don't want anything to get recorded unless I'm sure. I already checked these things before the class, but I want to be a little bit more sure before I show it on the screen. So give me a minute here. As I mentioned, I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm not there yet. That is why I'm doing these Twitch sessions, so I can make my syllabus better. I can make my things better. So that is the idea. So let's go ahead and hold on. Okay, I'm just fixing some spelling mistakes here. Hold on. So today the date is March 6th, 2023. Okay. And there it is. Okay, it's just loading now. And okay, perfect. All right, so there we go. So what I'm doing here is one thing which I have to be very careful, I believe, is that I also have a photography hobby. So what I try to do is whenever I have to no, there we go. This is the project I'm talking about. This is the code. Okay, now what this project does is there is an API. So let me put the code on one end, and let me get the output on the another end. There it is. So I do have a photography hobby, so I tend to use photos that I have taken as part of my photography hobby in my project. So there we go. So this is one of my photos. So if you like my photos, you can always visit my website. Let me just show that to you. So there you go. That's the one where I have a small portfolio. I'm building it. I do photography when I'm bored and things like that. So I'm building my portfolio slowly. So I like to think of myself a little bit of a photography artist, if I can become one someday. So I use my own photos in my projects, so that way I also avoid any unnecessary copyright problems. So these are all my own photos. So there you go. So the idea is, one of the projects that I always use in my classes is to go to this website called NASA APOD API. So yeah, I like this. I like this API because it is very simple. As always, my goal here is to teach programming to first-time learners. And what I wish to do is, I always, whenever I want to discuss programming, the main thing about programming is you have to know how to consume API and JSON. So here, this NASA APOD API, what it does is, every day it gives you a free image from the NASA archives or something like that. So every day we get a new image. So on the right side, so you can see here right now I just have one of my photos from my photography hobby. But when I click on this button, it's loading, and there you go. So this is the image that is coming from NASA. And although it is very, very simplistic, because I deal with first time learners every day, in and out, I know how much effort it takes for a first time learner to put in order to combine their knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, consuming API, processing JSON data, DOM manipulation, Bootstrap, all this together. And I've seen with my own eyes how happy my students become the first time they build this NASA APOD vanilla JS mini project. So this is my goal. My ultimate goal in these batches is, first step, I'm going to go ahead and discuss with them the 113 chapters of Free Code Camp, and after that we are going to build Bootstrap projects. Now I have multiple Bootstrap projects. I may discuss all the projects which are mentioned in this link I told you about. Let me go back to that link. So I have mentioned a Bootstrap landing page, I mentioned a Bootstrap photo website, I mentioned the NASA APOD which I'm showing right now, and of course I also have a Bootstrap MovieDB API project as well. So I have 4 Bootstrap projects mentioned here. I might just focus on this one, because if you can build this, you can build any of the other things. So I might just focus on this one thing, or I might go ahead and discuss all these 4 mini projects, and after that, that's it. That's the end of my classes. That's it. That's all there is to it. The syllabus is very, very straightforward. My job is to, well, it's not a job because I'm doing this for free, and I plan to keep doing this for free. The idea is to encourage people to learn, because I have my professional line of work, and people pay me a reasonable amount of money to teach them, so that is fine. So at the same time, I do believe that the basics and stuff like that, if it is free, then more people can learn and become programmers. So that is my goal here. So I plan to keep doing these sessions for free, and in some distant future, if I end up opening my own training company, I'm hoping to keep the classes for the basic sessions continue to be free, even if it is in person and things like that. So that is my plan. So my syllabus is essentially just 2 big chapters. Chapter 1, I will be running through the entire Free Code Camp basic JavaScript 113 chapters, which gives you all the basic knowledge you need for JavaScript. And after that, I'm going to build mini projects. I have several mini projects listed in my official syllabus for this batch, and right now I have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, and out of that I'm showing one of them here, which combines everything from Bootstrap to HTML to CSS to DOM manipulation to applying the JavaScript concepts, and also consuming API and processing JSON data from the internet. I as a person who's been teaching for more than 10 years professionally, and I started coding when I was like 15 years old. I'm now almost 40, so I've been coding for almost 25 years. I believe in my heart that if somebody can reach this stage, if somebody can understand how to build and recreate any one of these 4 Bootstrap projects, I believe the basics are covered, and from here they can explore their own future. They can learn more things as it pleases them. So this is my game plan here. So that is my syllabus. So first step, my plan is to go through all these 113 chapters, and the second step is to do some Bootstrap mini projects, and then that's the end of it. That's my syllabus. I want to keep it short. I want to be able to finish all these sessions as fast as possible, but of course I go into a lot of detail. I meander a lot, I talk a lot, I start talking about my life history and life stories and things like that. So even though the syllabus is short, I might be taking a really long time to explain all this. which may not be what everybody is looking for, and that is okay with me. So I am really looking for students who are thinking of learning programming as a hobby, something to learn it in their own leisure or something. And if somebody is on a tight deadline, then I don't know, they should not be taking any classes from me. I always tell people, if you're going to learn something, if possible, I understand the realities of life. I get that. I myself was born and raised in poverty, so I understand. Time is not always on your side. However, I always tell people that if they can plan ahead, they can and they should learn programming at a leisurely pace. Because I am a leisurely tutor. Like right now, just to discuss the syllabus, I've been speaking for almost 20-25 minutes, and I've been telling stories and things like that. So this is my style of teaching. I like to include a lot of stories, meander here and there, and so on and so forth. I would like to learn and teach in a very relaxed manner. When I learn things as well, I do the same way. I started coding like at a very young age, so I always had time to learn new things. So if there is something I want to do next year, I start learning this year. So I still have like 10 months or a year to learn whatever new things I want to learn. So I'm always learning at a leisure. So I recommend people also to learn at your own leisure. Please try to avoid, if possible, I'm going to put that here, if possible, try to learn at a leisurely pace. I understand this may not be possible for everybody. I get that. I do get that. You can't do everything in a leisurely pace. Not everybody can do that. I understand that. There are practical concerns about life. There are practical concerns about money. It's not always possible. But still, if you plan ahead, you should be able to learn at a leisurely pace, because that is how I'm going to teach. I will be teaching. I'm always teaching at a leisurely pace. Right now, like as I mentioned, I'm speaking for 20 plus minutes. I'm just talking about stories and just spending so much time just on the syllabus. So if possible, try to learn at a leisurely pace, because I'm always teaching at a leisurely pace. And also I have some ideas though. My syllabus, I do want to do like bonus at the end. I want to spend some time on what is called as P5JS. I'm very excited about P5JS. Let me bring it up on the screen right now. Let me just get that here on the screen. Hold on. Let me get some P5JS on the screen. Another thing I do, even with my regular customers, is once they finish learning about programming and things like that, I sort of offer them, sometimes even without any money, I just tell them, it's free, because I'm excited for it. I always ask them to check out this thing called, let me put this link here on the screen. So let me duplicate this. Alright, let me take this here, and then let me copy the link. There you go. I have to reduce the size. Although I've been using PowerPoint for so many years, it's still not as easy as it should be, but it's okay. I like it. So there you go. That is the link. I'm going to put this link in the Discord chat as well. Hold on. So the idea here is what P5JS does. Let me bring it on the screen. So what P5JS does is it allows you to apply your JavaScript knowledge to do things like this. And I've seen many of my clients Perhaps it looks colorful, perhaps it looks fun. Many of them opt for the session, and I even to my paid clients, I tell them I'm willing to teach P5JS for free because it's fun. Or I simply tell them that the P5JS things are like a bonus. You can pay what you want, because I just want them to learn, because it is a fun way to apply your JavaScript skills. So when I finish this batch, I might also spend some time discussing P5JS, or make it like a follow-up workshop, because I'm already doing some workshops in the Twitch stream. So this may become part of the syllabus, or like a follow-up, a workshop, or a recommendation, or something like that to my students who are following this batch. Because I've actually started working professionally on P5JS. Every now and then I'll get some client from somewhere in the world who want me to apply these P5JS skills to help them with some project or visualization or art installation and things like that. And I'm making a reasonable amount of money. And every time I get a P5JS project, I always feel like I'm making money by truly having fun. I mean, I enjoy coding. Yes, I enjoy teaching. So of course, that's already a fun thing. But P5JS is like fun multiplied by many times. So there is the coding thing that I do, the software development I used to do. They were already fun things, something I enjoy. But every time I get a P5JS project, I would get super excited. So I might end up making this part of the main syllabus, or making it an add-on workshop or something at the end of the batch. But I find myself doing P5JS workshops all the time. So ultimately, this is one possible way you can apply. Now the bootstrap thing I told you about, this NASA APOD project, now that is one way for you to apply. Of course, that is more practical, because when you apply for a job or something, or an internship or something, obviously this is what is going to matter to you. Okay, so if you can do something like this, you have one step in the software industry. But of course, this can also make you happier. I mean, not everything is about money. Not everything is about getting a job or something. I mean, life is more than just going to office, isn't it? We should be able to have some fun. For instance, I do coding all the time, but everything I do, there's no way I can convey to my mother how good or how much of a nice worker I am. But when I show her anything which is visual like this, she's like, wow, you did this with coding. It's very, very cool. I like it, she says. So this P5JS might become part of my syllabus. I haven't decided yet, but I just want to put it out there, like today's session number 1. So I want anybody who's watching to get an idea that, hey, they might be able to do this when the training is done. So this is my game plan. This is my plan anyway. So this is my syllabus, guys. So on my syllabus, there are 2 main things. There is the free code camp, 113 chapters. There are my bootstrap mini projects, like the NASA thing that I have it here. I have other mini projects linked in that syllabus link, so you can check it out for yourself. But I might do all of them, or just do one of them, because they are all similar to each other. So again, it depends on my time. Or maybe add more mini projects. I'm always adding new things. I'm always deleting existing things. I mean, the syllabus evolves over time. That is the nature of software development, and that is the main syllabus. And I just want the students to understand, try to learn at a leisurely pace. It's very important to remember this, because I am always teaching at a leisurely pace. One of the reasons why I want my own training shop, even if I never make any money from it, is because whenever I work for a client, whenever I work for a business, it's a business. In business, time is money. I'm being paid for every minute I spend talking. So obviously businesses can't just do things at a leisurely pace. It doesn't work that way. So another reason why I'm doing this is because how would it be if I'm gonna teach in my own pace, because this is what I believe in, then I gotta do it myself. So that is my plan here. And yes, of course, after the syllabus is covered with these two things, I might add P5JS as a bonus. Okay, so there you go, folks. So that is what I am planning. So now what I will do is I'm going to take a short break. Okay, so when I come back, still learning how to use this PowerPoint thing, you know. Maybe there's a better way to put these things on the screen, but I can't think of anything better than PowerPoint. So next, when I return, we'll start with Free Code Camp chapter 1. Okay, that is what we are going to start with when I come back from the break. So let me just make a note in my journal here. So I'm taking a break, first break somewhere around 40 seconds. You know, I'm just making a log of timestamps when I started something, when I stopped something, and so on and so forth, so that I can, it is useful later to build indexing and stuff like that. So alright then, so folks, I'm gonna play some music now. I made some music on GarageBand, so if you know, I don't know how good or bad it is, but I'm doing it. So alright, here we go. So that's the where is my music? There you go, that's the music. Okay, alright, I'll see you guys after the break. Enjoy the music. Okay, alright folks, I am back from my break here. So let's begin our journey. So the Free Code Camp website, I've already shared the link in my Discord channel, and I've put the link in the PowerPoint as well. You know, if you're just watching the video and you want to follow along, then The link is, just Google it. All right, but I put the link on my Discord channel anyway. So what are we going to do here? First, chapter number 1. So let's go for it. We go here, and the very first chapter is commenting your JavaScript code. So let me put that here. Okay, there we go. So the very first chapter is comment your JavaScript code. Now, as I mentioned before, it's not just about, for me, this is not just about doing these chapters. I also want to go into how I use JavaScript comments as in my life and things like that. So it's not just about, I put the link in the Discord channel as well. Okay, now since this is the first time you're looking at Free Code Camp, let me show you how to use Free Code Camp, because you'll be looking at this a long time, and as I mentioned, they have this huge chapters really. So after finishing, I will be finishing 113 chapters in these sessions, but you may want to, I would recommend you finish the rest of the chapters. They are very, very detailed. They are very, very important for programming, and they get progressively difficult as well. And if you do everything, you even get a nice cool certificate. And of course, don't forget to donate some money to them, because they really are doing a good job. I am still paying off my pandemic debt, but I have made a note in my diary here to donate some money to them once I finish paying off my pandemic debt to the bank. The bank is still on me. Yeah, they want their money, of course, and they want it as soon as possible. So I'm still occupied with it, but once I finish it, I know I will start donating some stuff to these guys. So please do think about it, if you end up using this. So you do get a nice certificate if you finish their course, which is very useful, especially for a first-time learner or somebody who is applying job for the first time. So that is one thing you want to learn about Free Code Camp. Now the second thing is the way the Free Code Camp chapters are organized is on the right side you have the typing area. So this is the typing area. Okay, you can type your code here. Okay, for example, let's say I want to, there's something called console log in JavaScript. We'll talk about it later. Well, I'll talk about it right now. So console log is a way to put some simple messages in the console. See, you have a console here in the bottom. So the bottom area is the console. This is where you type your code, and on the left side they give you an explanation of what you're learning. They give you like an example output. They give you the assignment, and also they give you objectives for each chapter. Like, these are the things that you're supposed to do. And then if you click on this button, run the test, then that's how you run the test, and it will tell you, if you have failed or passed that specific chapter. Like right now, they gave me 2 assignments. One is I can do comments by typing // or I can do comments by typing /*. In India we just call it a star because it looks like a star, but in Western countries I believe they use the word asterisk. So you can use comments with asterisk as well. So they want me to do this as well. That is why I am passing the first test, but I'm not passing the second test. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the second one also. So I'm going to say /*. This is the second type of comment. Okay, and then I run the test. I have passed. Okay, now I'm getting 100% complete because I've already finished the course. But when you try to do this, the percentage will be depending on which chapter you have finished. Now this is another reason why I like this Free Code Camp website. The way they have designed it, I know the gray color, the black color looks a little dull and things like that, but after a while you will get used to it, so that's not going to be a big problem. and then they'll tell you if you're passed or fail, and they'll try to say some motivational quotes in the top. It keeps changing with every chapter and so on. So there is some basic motivation to keep you running and things like that. So there you go. Now I have finished this, but before I go to the next chapter, I do want to stop here and explain to you the importance of comments. Now when we talk about comments are a very important part of documentation. In programming, this is still running. Let me close this. I think the NASA stuff is still running. Let me close this as well. Close this. Yeah, let me close all the unnecessary stuff right now. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So in software development, for example, right now I am taking this class. I have my journal notebook where I'm sitting down and I'm making some notes. I also have an online secret diary where I write about what I'm doing, like a digital online journal as well. So in life, it is very important that you document things, you journal things. It helps you be more disciplined. It helps you follow up, because life is busy as it is and you're doing so many things at the same time. So you do document to get things more organized. So similarly in software development as well, we use comments to document our software. So whatever you're building, you can use comments to explain in English, simple English, to explain what you're doing. Okay. Now the thing in programming, what happens is anything which is a comment will be ignored by the JavaScript system. Okay. For instance, this line number 5. Now that is the JavaScript code, so that won't be ignored by the JavaScript runtime. That's what we call that, JavaScript runtime or Node.js runtime, whatever makes JavaScript work. Okay. So JavaScript engine will not ignore this because that is an actual line of code. However, this is a comment. You can see that it is in green color. So usually whatever you see in green color is a comment, which means whenever it's like, okay, don't worry about this, you can ignore this. So that's what it means. So whenever you want to, so we write comments to explain what we are doing in our software. So you may not realize the value of this right now because this is the first time you're seeing any coding, but as we build projects, as we get more in depth into programming, a lot of times you will feel like, okay, you'll feel like leaving behind some notes, some instructions and things like that to make the software code more readable. Readability, code readability, it's kind of like a manual that you get when you purchase something. Like for instance, I have an iMac and I move a lot. I move a lot because of my lifestyle, and although I've had the iMac for many years and I've packed it and I've unpacked it so many times, and still even today, every time I have to pack it, the packaging is so annoying and complex. Apple is easy in every way, but for whatever reason they made the packing so complex. Every time I try to pack the iMac machine in the box in which it came, I always lose my patience because I just can't figure it out. And eventually I will figure it out, of course, but it takes a while to figure it out. So I wish sometimes I have to go to YouTube and watch a video on how to pack an iMac into the box or something. So that is what comments are. So comments is how you leave behind instructions on what is happening and how to make something happen and so on and so forth. So it's like a notebook, it's like a journal for your code, and that is why comments are so important. Now there are some schools of thought that, okay, too much of comments will make your code look ugly and whatnot, and you're an amateur or something. But hey, this is a fresher class. You are an amateur. So please use maximum amount of comments. Now I personally write a lot of comments because I mostly deal with students. So I'm a tutor. So for me, writing comments is a necessity. Although I do it unconsciously. So I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I really want to. I do believe comments will make your code better. So that is a story about comments. So there you go. So that was the first chapter, and I was also able to explain to you how to use free code camp. Now before we go away from this, one more thing I want to show you is, in order to take these interactive lessons on the website, you have to log in. Okay, you'll see here on the top right corner, this is my account on free code camp. If you want to check it out, I'm going to put the link in my PowerPoint, and I'll also put this link in the Discord channel, in case you want to see what I've done and what I didn't do or something. So so there you go. Let me put this in the Discord channel as well. Let me make sure this link works. Hold on. Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's working. Okay, fine. That's good. That's good. So there we go. So you can check it out. And then the idea here is you need to log in with your GitHub account. I'm going to talk more about GitHub. I don't want to jump into GitHub right now, but it is part of what I'm going to teach. So we'll talk about GitHub later, right? But until then, just remember, you need to sign in with your GitHub account. It will make your life so much better. So the good thing about signing in and all that is, as you go through the course, whatever chapters you have finished, they will have a nice check mark. So let's say you, after watching this video, you go to the website, you create your GitHub account, and then you start doing the chapters one by one. So these check marks will get ticked. So there is a automatic tracking of your progress as well. So you can always, do a few chapters, go take a break and come back, just log in, and this online website will remember what chapters you have done and what chapters you have to do. This becomes very useful because as you go in these chapters, some of the chapters will become too difficult, and maybe you want to take a break and just move on to the next chapter, and these tick marks will help you. So it will track your progress automatically. It's almost like an LMS. An LMS is like a learning software which tracks what you've done, what you have not done, and stuff like that. So the free code camp is essentially a very nicely done but gray and black looking LMS, and it's free. So you can't put a price on that because it's free, right? Now the next thing, one last thing to remember is, let's say you get stuck. What do you do? Now if you get stuck, there is a very convenient get help option, and you can usually click on this to get a hint from the forum. The free code camp guys, they have a really nice forum where they'll give you the solution itself, or there'll be people discussing it. There may be comments and stuff like that, and you can talk to other people who are learning programming just like you. So they do have a nice, very, very nice hint system and a community where you can take help. Of course, I have my own Discord channel, so if you're following along with me, please don't hesitate to join my Discord server and ask questions. I will be able to help you. We have a lot of other students who have taken lessons from me and are also participating and helping each other. So that's another option too. So you have the free code camp community, you have our Discord, and there are so many other places on the internet where you can go and get help. So that's another thing about free code camp. It has a nice hint system where you can go and get the answer itself. Another option is they usually link a video. The free code camp community is pretty big. They have thousands and thousands of developers taking help from this website. So some of them have made videos, and other times you can just ask for help. So this is what I was talking about. So just go ahead and go to the forum. That's it. Create a help post on the forum and go ahead and create a post and just log in with your GitHub account. The same GitHub account works here as well. So this is their forum. So just go ahead, use these forums to ask questions, interact with other developers. I'm going to put the link in the Discord channel, and I will put the link in the PowerPoint as well. So let me do that here. So there are many ways. There are these tools. There are these tools available in and all of this is free. So this is what I keep saying. When you think about it, today more than ever, it is that much easier to, at least there's no lack of resources. And I would say there are too many people trying to teach programming, too many people, I mean, I'm trying to teach you, there are these forums, websites, there are YouTube channels dedicated to teaching far better than mine and things like that. So yes, there is that. Today you are spoiled with choice when it comes to learning programming. So you simply need to choose the one that is very useful to you. So there you go. That is about the very first chapter of Free Code Camp and all the different ways Free Code Camp tries to help you. And another thing is, when you're working on something, or one thing that I do is, even if I haven't written any code, if you make a mistake, there's a button called reset this lesson. So there you go. You can just reset it and start over. And sometimes if you're getting stuck, you're not sure what to do, even if you haven't written any code, just run the test, and the test will tell you what you should do. So I mean, already they tell you what you need to do, but you can just run the test to see how far you have gotten. So maybe you have managed to solve one of the problems, but some other problem is not working. So you can simply run the test and just see where you have failed, and then just focus on those things. We'll see more about that. So here, let me just do the test again. So the first type of comment, and then the second type. Here we go. And now I'm going to say run the test, and it'll pass. And then I can submit, and I can go to the next channel. Okay, so once again, this is where I'm going to take another break. I am getting pretty old, and speaking is actually very, very tiring for me. So I'm going to once again take a break here. So let me put this here on break. So next, when we come back, we are going to resume with chapter 2, and I'm going to make a note of that in my journal. So I took a break at 1 hour 2 minutes 53 seconds of my Twitch stream. Alright then, so as always, let me play some very boring music. I made that music myself, so let's go for it. All right, folks, welcome back to the next chapter. Okay, there you go. I'm resuming. So let's go ahead then. So now the chapter 2, that's going to be declare JavaScript variables. All right, let's put that here in the PowerPoint. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now the next chapter is declaring JavaScript. I'm going to put this link in the Discord. I'm gonna stop putting links for chapters here in the video, because once you go to Free Code Camp, you know what I'm talking about. So I think that should be okay. Now, variables is the first programming concept that you learn in any kind of learning. Now there are many ways you can think about variables. Let me open up a drawing application here. So let me pick something. Brushes. Okay, oil brush. Let me take a red color. So the way I look about variables is, suppose you have like a bucket or a storage container or a mug, a mug, for example. Now in this mug you can choose to store, let's say, water. So that's suppose that is water. So now the mug is a storage for water, and you can take this mug, right? You can take this mug and you can carry this with you. Like every day when I get up, I go ahead and make myself a cup of tea. If I'm in a rush, I make myself a cup of coffee. Now, when I prepare it in the kitchen, obviously I have to store it in a mug, so I can take the tea to my desk and I can drink the tea while I check my email or discuss with my students who may have left some messages overnight in the GitHub community or the Discord community, and so on and so forth. So the mug helps me store the chai or tea so that I can drink it at my desk. Now if there was no mug, I would have no way to carry my tea to my desk, and hence I won't be able to consume it. So that is the example I'm going to use. So variables are like mugs. You use variables to store data. Now I am using the mug to store tea or chai, as we say it in India. Or you might be drinking coffee, in which case you use the mug to store coffee, or you use the mug to store water. It's up to you. It's a mug. It can store many things. Similarly, in JavaScript we have variables which can be used to store numbers, like number 10. It can be used to store decimal numbers, like 10.5. It can be used to store strings, something like my name, Jay. Okay, so there you go. That is what a variable does. It helps you store things. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how that is done. So let me minimize this, go back here. Now they're asking me to use the var keyword. Now in JavaScript there are many different ways to create a variable. We'll see about that as the chapters progress. But right now they're asking me to use the var keyword to create a variable called my name. Again, names are important. Like for instance, in my house, I have 6 computers. Now, please don't ask me why I have 6 computers. I work as a freelancer, I work from home, so I feel more comfortable having multiple computers, in case one of them stops working, and I work on so many different things. I need a different computer for some specific tasks. So that is why I have so many computers. So when I have so many computers, I have to give each of them different names. Now, if you just have one computer, then when I say computer, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're like me and you have multiple computers, then when I say computer, the next question is, which one? So you give computers a name, right? So similarly, when we are talking about variables or mugs, I have 4 mugs in the kitchen. I have one mug which is a Batman mug. I have another mug which is also a Batman mug, but it's a different illustration. And I have 2 more mugs with some writings on it. So I can use those writings and descriptions to identify different kind of names. Similarly, in a single project, you can have hundreds of variables. So you need to give a variable a name. So that is what they are talking about here. So let's go ahead and create that. So they want me to use, the assignment wants me to use the var keyword. I've done that. And they want you to use this name. So I'm going to copy paste it. See, another thing I want to tell you is, especially on Free Code Camp and in general in coding, please remember that as much as possible, copying is always better than typing. Okay, so you will understand what this means. You will understand. I'm just making some notes in my journal as well as I'm teaching. I told you guys, I maintain a journal and stuff. So yes, in coding and programming, copying is always better than typing because it reduces errors and it makes you faster. So please remember to copy as much as possible instead of typing. Even if you don't want to, even if you prefer typing, like maybe you're a fast touch typist or something, like I am a touch typist. I have a reasonably good speed of typing. Even then, copy pasting is preferable. So let's go and do that. So this is the variable name they want me to use. So I'm going to double click on this and then I'm going to say Control C. I'll come here and I'm going to say Control V. And what do they want me to do? They just want me to create a variable. They don't want me to use it yet. Like they just want me to get the mug. They haven't told me what to do with the mug. And then I use a semicolon. Now in JavaScript, semicolon is optional, but I like to use it. Even if I don't put the semicolon, I'm sure I will pass the test. Oh, it won't pass the test because they're expecting a semicolon, but it won't give you an error if you don't use a semicolon. So just for the sake of passing the test and also because I like to use it, I'll put the semicolon and then I'll run the test and there it is. So let's do that once again. So let's say I want to do this again. I'm going to reset this lesson. I'm going to say var. I'm going to come to the left side, double click, Control C and then Control V and semicolon, and I'll run the test. So that's all there is to it, how to declare a variable. Let's keep going before I take my next break. So let's keep going. The next chapter is storing values. This is like, you have a mug and now you have to decide what you're going to store in the mug. So the next chapter, I'm going to put this link in the Discord chat. The next chapter is storing values with the assignment operator. So let's do that. So I'm going to put this link in the Discord here. So there we go. Okay, so the assigning of values is we have the equals. See, in programming we have this thing called operators. Operators, as the name suggests, is what you use to get work done. That's why it's called an operator. Like if you have a computer operator, now that's the guy who operates computers. If you have a lift operator, then that's the guy who operates the lift. So in programming, we use operators whenever you want to get something done. So right now what is happening is I have a variable already created for me. All I need to do is I need to assign a value of 7 to this variable. And for that, I'm going to use the assignment operator, which is the equals symbol. So how do we do it? So there we go. So all I have to do is the variable is already created for me. So that means the mug is already in your hand and you're now trying to store 7 into your mug. So A is my mug and I'm going to say equals because that is my operator. Just like you have a lift operator or a computer operator or a kitchen operator. Like for example, in India we have buses, and in the bus we have a guy, the driver drives the bus, but we also have another guy called a conductor. Like you have a conductor in an orchestra, we have a conductor for buses. So the conductor is also the ticket operator. And I've seen in movies and stuff, like in America and UK, I believe there's only one door to the bus, to the city bus or something. And then the driver issues the ticket, right? But yeah, that's not going to fly in India because our buses are full all the time. We have way too many passengers, and most of the time it's difficult to get a place to sit. So the buses are full most of the time. So we have a separate ticket operator. We call him a conductor. So the ticket operator issues tickets. So that's a ticket operator. So similarly, we have the assignment operator, and we need to assign 7. So now in programming, things always happen from right to left. Normally when you do something in real life, it's always, or usually it is left to right. But in programming, things happen from right to left. So if I want to assign 7 to A, then I want A, the target, the destination, to be on the left side and the actual value to be on the right side, and then semicolon. So this is all they're expecting me to do. So what is happening here is I can write a comment. So I am assigning the value of 7 to the variable A. See, this is why I like comments. They help me explain the code. They help me document the code. So this is why I like to use comments on a daily basis. So now if I should run the test, I see that I have passed it. See, again, I told you, they have these, I guess this is from Star Trek, right? Warp 9. I'm sure that is from Star Trek. I'm not a Star Trek fan. I mean, I like the movies, but I don't have the patience to watch TV shows. And Star Trek TV shows, I know people like them and all, but I tried to watch a couple of episodes, but I didn't find them interesting. But I like the Star Trek movies though, the new ones, with Chris Pine. Chris Pine is a good actor. He's a very good actor. He has a certain maturity about him. In all his roles, not just in Star Trek, he's a very, very nice actor. Chris Pine. Okay, so there you go. So that takes care of storing values with the assignment operator. So let's go ahead and submit. They'll keep reminding you on Free Code Camp to donate, right? So they'll keep doing that. I'm going to just click on Ask Me Later. Okay, so now we are in the next chapter. Let's put this in the PowerPoint. Assigning the value of one variable to another. So this is exactly like what we did last time. I'm going to put this link in Discord. So let me go ahead and do that. So what is happening is, now previously we did something like this. We took a value 7 and assigned it to the variable A. Now the thing is, you don't always have to assign values from actual values. You can assign values using a variable. So what they're asking me to do is they want me to put whatever is already stored in A to another variable called B. So this is like, I mean, this happens a lot, right? Like especially in college or something, like friends would suddenly come over and you already made your cup of tea and your friend is here, and you will take another mug and pour half of your coffee or chai to your friend. So you're transferring some of your content data to another mug. So similarly here what we are trying to do is we have a mug or variable A, and we want to put whatever is there in A into B. So to do that, as always, remember things go from right to left in programming. So the destination is B and the source is A. So I'm going to just mention that here. So destination is B on the left side and the source is A on the right side. So this is something which bothers first time programmers a lot, because normally we do things left to right, but in programming suddenly you have to think in the opposite direction. So that does confuse some people. Not everyone gets confused, but I've seen in my experience some students take a while to process this part. So if that happens to you, don't worry, it's okay. You practice a couple of chapters, and don't forget you can always reset the lesson and keep repeating the lesson until you think you have gotten a hang of things. So let's run the test. There you go, I have passed this part. So let's keep going. Let me see how many more chapters I can do like this easily without having to take a break. So the next one is initializing variables with the assignment operator. Okay, so this is similar to what we have done already. So all we have to do is I have to create a variable called A and immediately give it a value of 9. So let's do that. So I have to create a variable called A. So I'm going to say, to create anything I have to use var, and the name they want me to use is A, and I need to assign a value. Now initialize is nothing but assign a value. So to assign values I have to use equals, and the value they want me to assign is 9. So what is happening here? So I am creating a variable, and immediately, not in a separate line or something, I'm just assigning, or the word you use is initialize, assigning the value I need for the variable. So there you go. That's all there is to it. Very, very straightforward, very, very simple. But of course, as I mentioned, if you are new to programming, it might take some time for you to process it, and that is okay. There is the button called reset this lesson, and you can keep resetting this lesson until you understand what is going on. And don't forget, you can also experiment. So they ask you to do this, it doesn't mean you can't do something else. So for example, I could say var, I can use my name J equals 10. There's nothing stopping you from experimenting directly in the editor. So there you go. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to click on run the test. Now it says that because I'm doing something extra, they don't like it. So I'm going to reset this lesson. I mean, you can practice, but when you want the actual test to pass, you still have to do what they're asking you to do. So if you do anything extra, they may not pass you like you just saw. So I'm going to say var A equals 9, and I'm going to run the test. And there it is. So let's keep going. So declaring string variables. Strings will always complicate things a little bit. Okay, but they're just like integers, so we'll keep going. So what do they want us to do? So they want us to create two variables. Okay, so I'm going to say var, and remember, copy paste is always recommended. Second variable, so I'm going to say var. Okay, pasting it, I've created two variables. That was the first thing, and they want me to assign the values of my first and last name. So they don't care what I put in them as long as it's correct. So once again, I'm going to copy paste, and my first name is this one, and the second name again I'm going to copy paste, and I'll put my second name here. Okay, and now I think that's all they want me to do, so I'm going to run the test. There you go, easy peasy. So don't forget, you can always just close this pop-up and you can reset the lesson and try again. So for instance, let's say I want to use Batman's name, so I can say var copy paste and var my last name. There you go. Okay, that is the first step, creating two variables, and then I need to assign first and last name. I will use Batman's name, so I'm gonna say my first name equals Bruce Wayne, so Bruce, and my last name I can go with Wayne. And now I run the test and it will pass, because the computer, the website doesn't know my real name. So I can put whatever I want. It really doesn't matter. If I want, I can say my first name is Pizza, and I can say my last name is Burger, and that will still pass the test, because they're not checking for what you do inside the quotes. They're just making sure that you use the proper syntax for string variables. That's all they're trying to check. Okay, the actual value is irrelevant, and of course they'll try to, now that is from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing, Kawabanga. I like that word. Okay, let's keep going. So understanding uninitialized variables. Now the thing is, so remember, every time you use equals, that is called assigning a value. But if you don't assign a value, it becomes undefined. Okay, so let's see what they're talking about. So they're saying initialize the three variables a, b, c with 5, 10, I am a. So now if I try to do a little bit of console log, so if I go and say console.log, so you'll see in the bottom of the screen I am getting NaN. I'm not getting any output. That is because my variables are right now not assigned. They don't have a value. Mug, but the mug is empty. So if you try to drink from an empty mug, you'll get nothing, because the mug is empty. So you can't drink from an empty mug. You have to put something in the mug, otherwise it would be undefined or not a number. So that is what is going to happen. So let's go ahead and put something in the mug. Let's go ahead and put something in the variable. So after line number 5, I'm going to say, now here, as I am fixing this, keep an eye on the console and see how they start changing. So they've told me that a should be 5. So I'm going to say a equals 5. And now look at that. This is already, it was NaN before, but now it says 6. So we are fixing it. 1 is fixed. Let's keep going. So next they want me to say b equals 10. And now look at that. This is also now looking good. And finally they want to make c into a string. So remember what I keep telling you, don't type these things, always copy paste. So I'm gonna copy paste so that I don't want to make any mistakes. Now I can see that, like, if I remove these things, you'll see that I get the original NaN, undefined and all that, but if I remove this, I get the proper output. Now this is what they wanted. Okay, so if you have variables, please remember that at some point in your code, before you use them, you have to initialize them. Very, very important. You have to initialize them. If you don't initialize, you will get NaN, which is not a number, and undefined, which is, well, undefined because it doesn't have any definition. It doesn't have any value assigned to it. So to overcome this problem, you make sure that when you create a variable, you please assign a value so that it starts working the way you expect it to work. Okay? Alright then, so let's keep going here. Let's keep going. These are all fairly straightforward concepts. Okay? Understanding case sensitivity in variables. So that is, oh wait a second, have I stopped putting the chapter names? Hold on, let me go back to this one, right? Hold on, I may have not forgot initializing variables. Yeah, oh, I forgot about this. Okay, so this chapter is done. Put that in my PowerPoint. Put that link in the Discord. Okay, there we go. Next, I also finished understanding uninitialized variables. So let's take that and put it in my PowerPoint. There it is. Let's put that link in my Discord channel. Okay, very nice. And now I am in the actual chapter, which is case sensitivity. So let's go ahead and copy that title and put it in my PowerPoint. Good. Okay. Now this is something like when you say case sensitivity. Now what I'm trying to say is, this is like, this is uppercase C. But if I change it to this, so that is lowercase. So in programming, this word and this word are actually different. So that is called case sensitivity. So when you are creating variables, if you create a variable like this and later you think like you can just use it like this, that's not going to work, because the case actually matters. Okay, so that is what they're trying to explain here. So now let's go here. Now another thing is, what style do you want to use when you're creating your variables? So normally what people like to do, I mean, again, these are just standards. There are no rules as such that you have to do it like this. So the idea is you use the first word with a lowercase, the first letter with a lowercase, and then subsequent letters to be uppercase. It's easy when I do it. So you have this variable here. So let me just, so what I'll do is I'll go to the first letter. I'm going to make it lowercase, and I'll make everything else in the lowercase. So what I want to do is I want to turn this into a lowercase, and I want to turn this into a lowercase. Okay, so that is the first word. So the first word is completely lowercase, but then the second word starts with an uppercase, and then the third word starts with an uppercase. So let's keep going. So now this one again is fine. So the first word is already lowercase, the second word begins with an uppercase, and the third word also begins with an uppercase. Now this one, I can see that the first word is not lowercase, so I am going to replace this uppercase T with a lowercase t, and then the second word, yes, the first letter is uppercase, and yes, here also the first letter is uppercase. So that means it is correct. Now because we change the names here, we have to change the names here as well. So remember what I keep mentioning, don't type, copy paste. So I'm going to double click, Control C, Control V. I'm going to go back to the top, double click, Control C, Control V, and finally the third variable, double click, Control C, Control V. Now see how nice it looks, right? How nice it looks. It looks really nice, And of course, I just want to remind my students that this is not mandatory. It is kind of like you're wearing a hat or something, and you go inside a room, for a meeting, and inside the room you don't have hat. So usually people say like, okay, when you're indoors, you should not be wearing a hat. It's considered rude or something. But then again, there is nothing stopping you from wearing the hat. Maybe you're feeling cold that day, or maybe you just want to be. Maybe that's your style. Wearing the hat is your style, and you like to wear the hat indoors. There's nothing wrong with it. But again, there are customs, there are preferred ways to behave. So similarly in programming, there is no rule that says that you have to follow camel case. There's really no rule that says that. But if you use camel case, it helps. It really does make a minor but important difference to anybody else who is reading your code, which is important because please understand that very few developers actually work alone. Most of the time you will be working as part of a team, so you have to read other developer code, and other developers would be reading your code. So if there is anything you can do to make their experience of reading your code better, like using camel case, you should do it. That is the right way. It is etiquette. It is a good positive way of programming, right? Because everybody is ultimately part of a team. So camel case helps you maintain some cosmetic but useful visual standards. So that's what this chapter was all about. One, case sensitivity, and second thing is, yes, recommending that you use camel case when you're creating variables. Many times I also may not follow the standard. I may forget to use camel case, or I don't feel the need for it. So it's not like I have to do it. But as much as possible, make it a habit. It helps in the long run. Okay. All right. So that's understanding case sensitivity. Let's press run. And then, hold on. I think I made a mistake somewhere. Studley cap war. I forgot about this. Right. I made a mistake there. Okay. All right. There we go. And that is that chapter. Okay. I think I've earned a break here, or should I wrap it up? I've been running this session for more than an hour, so maybe I should wrap it up here. Okay. All right. So let's do it. So this is where I am going to wrap it up, but before that, where do I want to continue next? So next I will be continuing with explore the differences between the var and let keywords. So next session, I'm not sure, I was hoping to do it tomorrow, so maybe I'll do it tomorrow, but I'll put the dates in the Discord channel. Okay. So next, I'm not sure where when I'll be doing the next session, maybe next week or tomorrow, but I'll put the information on the Discord. So let me just go ahead and take this here and put it in the last page as well. Okay, so there we go. Right, so next session, whenever I do it, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. I want to keep it a little bit flexible. After all, this is my batch, so I have some flexibility there. So I'll be returning with this chapter, and until then, thank you for anybody who joined. Gautam, I believe, has joined, so thank you, Gautam, for joining. And anybody who's watching the recording, feel free to join our Discord channel here, or visit my website, or just Google my name to find out about me, and so on and so forth. And I will see you in the next class. Thank you.